I used to think being broke meant making too little money. But that was not the real problem. The real problem was how quietly money was slipping away from me every single day. It did not happen in one big disaster. It happened in small moments. A coffee on the way to work, a subscription I forgot about, a takeout dinner because I was too tired to cook after a long 9 to 5. And then one day, I looked at my bank app and wondered how I could be working full-time and still feel behind. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. A lot of people in the US are living like this right now. Rent keeps climbing. Groceries cost more, gas costs more. And somehow the little expenses feel even easier to ignore because they seem harmless. But that is exactly why they are dangerous. They do not feel like a problem until they become your whole problem. Here's what changed everything for me. I stopped looking for one giant money mistake and started looking for the small habits that were quietly draining my paycheck. And once I saw them clearly, I could not unsee them. The first trap was lifestyle creep. It starts innocently. You get a raise, you finally feel like you can breathe. So you upgrade a few things: a nicer apartment, better food delivery, a new phone plan, maybe a car payment that seemed manageable at first. Nothing crazy, just enough to make life feel a little more comfortable. But then the comfort gets expensive. Your income goes up, but so does everything around it. The coffee shop becomes a morning routine. The subscriptions multiply. The Amazon orders feel small. The weekend plans cost more than they used to. And before long, the extra money is gone before you even see it in your account. That is the part people miss. Lifestyle creep does not look like waste. It looks like progress. That is why it is so hard to catch. The second trap was the daily spending that never felt serious enough to stop. I'm talking about the $6 coffee, the $12 lunch, the $18 delivery fee, the random app subscription, the I deserve this purchase after a bad day. Individually, none of it feels huge. Your brain hears $5 or $10 and thinks, relax, it's just one small thing. But money does not disappear one giant bite at a time. It disappears in dozens of tiny ones. And if you are living paycheck to paycheck, those tiny ones matter even more. Because when money is already tight, every little leak hits harder. A couple of forgotten charges and a few convenience purchases can be the reason you're stressed before the month is even halfway over. It's not because you're bad with money, it's because small spending is designed to be invisible. Then came the third trap, and this one was the most stressful: relying on debt to smooth over the gaps. A credit card can make a rough month feel manageable. That's why so many people use it. The bill comes later, when life is already moving on. So it feels like the problem solved itself. But it didn't. It just waited. That's how people end up carrying balances they never planned to carry. One emergency, one car repair, one medical bill, one month where rent hit before payday. Suddenly, the credit card is not a backup plan anymore. It is part of the monthly budget. And once interest starts growing, the money you thought you had is already spoken for. At this point, I had to admit something uncomfortable. I did not have a money problem because I lacked discipline. I had a money problem because I had no clear system. My income was being absorbed by habits I never really questioned. I was working, earning, spending, and repeating. It felt like effort, but it was not building anything. So I started doing something very simple. I began tracking where my money actually went for 1 month. Not to judge myself, just to see the truth. And the truth was eye-opening. The biggest leaks were not the dramatic expenses. They were the ordinary ones. The gym membership I barely used, the delivery orders after work, the random shopping when I was stressed, the subscriptions I meant to cancel but never did. That is when I understood why so many people feel stuck. It is not always the big bills. It is the constant friction between the life we want and the life our account can actually support. And that is where the shift begins. Not by becoming perfect, not by cutting out every joy, but by making your money visible again. When you can see the leaks, you can decide what stays and what goes. When you know your real spending, you stop guessing. When you stop guessing, you start feeling in control. That control matters more than people think, because financial stress is not just about numbers. It changes how you think. It makes you tired. It makes you anxious. It makes every purchase feel emotional. And when money feels emotional, the easy choice usually wins. That is why clarity is powerful. It gives you a pause between impulse and action. You do not need a perfect budget to start. You need awareness. You need to notice the patterns. You need to ask, is this expense helping me, or am I just used to it? That one question can save more money than 1,000 guilt trips. And once you start seeing those patterns, something surprising happens. The stress gets lighter. Not instantly, not magically, but slowly. Because you are no longer reacting to money, you are directing it. And that is the real difference between feeling broke and building stability. If you have been feeling behind, I want you to remember this. Being stuck does not always mean you need more income first. Sometimes it means your current income is leaking through habits you never had a chance to examine. And the moment you examine them, you get your power back. That is how the story changes. Not with one huge financial win, with one honest look at what is happening every day. And sometimes that is enough to start rebuilding everything.